Bryn Porcio, 3x pitch BioMetrics here of Kale. Got him at the 3x velocity camp at 82.1 miles per hour. I'm going to take him into his leg lift here. Okay. Right before leg drive, okay, we can see lefty, if we're looking at the yellow check, is hip, femur rotation is 16 degrees, looks internal, internal, and the abduction is 31. So at this point we'd like to be in external, so we should be in a negative rotation at this point, knee out, because this is more going to cause the back leg to collapse in that internal rotated position. Pretty early on the arm cocking, you're already up above the shoulder at before leg drive. That potentially is going to cause some early trunk rotation. If we look at knee flexion, not much knee flexion there. There's some decent dorsiflexion. If we follow kinematic sequencing, this is on the left, we can see the hips are peaking after the trunk. The trunk is, if we're early trunk rotating, so you see the glove side pulling and then the trunk peaks, the trunk peaking, and then the hips are catching up. So it's out of sequence. We want those hips going off first. So the red dot should be way to the left before the blue and green. So that the blue is the glove side. That's really pulling rotation in the trunk. If we put in the hip line and shoulder lines, you'll be able to see that we have negative separation here all the way back to, see, pretty much from the moment of rotation, the hips and trunks were ahead, and then here's the trunk getting ahead, or the hips and trunks were in sync. Here's the trunk getting ahead as it goes into pitch release. So pretty much not only no separation, it's a negative hip to shoulder separation. If we watch the back leg, you can see it, there's no really peak, it's just turning over in the front foot. That's why the hips aren't peaking that well. And if we look from a front view, landing in an open front foot position, and then that back hip stays slightly or neutral to ipsilateral, which is falling towards arm side. So you can see at this point here, it's going to the contralateral side by 2 degrees. Okay, so the hip is, because that back leg is collapsing, that hip is actually losing stability. I'd like to see, it says on the right, the blue check, it says L2. I'd like it to see it like a 10 or so, where it's really leaning to that contralateral side. But if you can see, the trunk is having to kind of overcompensate to help stabilize that hip. So if we look at the chest position, the chest position's at 26, which isn't too bad. 25 is excessive, but it is borderline excessive. And if we look at forward tilts, about 24, which is not bad going forward. So you're able to get momentum down the mound, which is carrying your trunk forward, but you didn't sequence it well at all. I think the arm path also too, because you cocked your arm so early, you can see the elbows way above the shoulder, which is going to could lead to impingements with it that high. And your front leg it's trying to help. So there's just not a lot of front leg or back leg. There's not a lot of leg power. Just collapsing back leg, causing the hips to lose stability, causing the sequence to get out of sequence, with the chest going well ahead of the hips very early in the movement. Then the arm hyperabducting and staying in that hyperabducted position, even though you did get some decent momentum down the mound. So just emphasizing back leg stability through holding torsion, back leg power, delaying arm cocking, getting into more hip to shoulder separation. all really important things for you to stay healthy and increase your velocity.